Well, the sun is bright and the days are longer, and that means more people are spending time outdoors. But it is important to remember that too much sun can be dangerous for your skin. Melanoma is the deadliest form of skin cancer, but it does have a 99% cure rate if caught early. The American Cancer Society estimates that 97,000 new melanomas will be diagnosed, most of them in men, and the rates of it have been rising rapidly over the past few decades, but this has varied by age. Joining me now is Prisma Health physician Dr. Rivera to discuss ways to stay safe in the sun. Good morning. How are you today?
Good morning. I'm good.
Good, good. So we have to talk about, skin cancer. And what is melanoma? It's a long word, but it is, unfortunately, as we mentioned, pretty common.
So melanoma is a cancer of the melanocytes of the skin. So the pigment-producing cells in your skin basically go bad, and they start producing tumor cells that can go on to invade other parts of your body.
Really? So when this kind of happens, we also hear about melanoma, which is the cancer, and then we hear about basal cell. To just put in a little tidbit there, my mother was diagnosed with melanoma and my father had basal cell. So I was a little confused about the difference. So can you explain that?
So basal cell comes from a different cell type versus melanoma. It is typically a much more benign disease. Basal cells, you just kind of chop them out and you're good to go. Melanoma is different in that melanoma has a real potential to spread to other organs in your body. It can spread to your lymph nodes, and that's what makes it a more dangerous disease. Melanoma is a little bit easier to spot than basal cell. Basal cell just kind of looks like skin that's maybe a little bump, whereas melanoma is typically pigmented. And there's the whole ABCDE about identifying a melanoma type skin cancer, where you're looking for asymmetry, a border that's not quite even, color, that pigmentation that we're talking about, diameter bigger than the tip of a pencil eraser, and then as it changes over time. Whereas a melanoma might be a mole that you've had your whole life that goes on to get darker or bigger. Basal cells will be normal looking skin that develops a bump and then kind of over time might become an ulcer or a bigger bump.
Okay, so that ABCDE, I remember hearing about that, of course, when I went to go and get a skin check. So how often should somebody go and get these checks and to just be checked out?
Ooh, it depends. So if you have a history of skin cancers, you should be seeing a dermatologist once a year for a full body skin check, and that should be an uncomfortable exam. They should really be looking at you from the top of your scalp all the way to the heels of your feet, and that should be looking at all parts of your skin. If you don't have a history of skin cancer, or if you're a darker pigmented person with no family history of skin cancers or melanomas, then it's just your own skin checks that you need to be doing regularly.
Okay, so of course, we already talked about it earlier, is that it's hot here in South Carolina. It is hot here. I'm trying to get used to it too, but what are some ways that those with, skin cancer in the family, like they can protect themselves with the sun's UV rays?
Sunscreen, 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 sunscreen,
Keep saying it.
sunscreen.
There you go.
Every day. You should treat it like brushing your teeth. So you should be getting up in the morning, brushing your teeth, and putting on sunscreen on all sun-exposed areas. And even if it's just for vanity's sake, because it'll help prevent fine lines and wrinkles. But really, sunscreen is your best protection. I always recommend a mineral-based sunscreen because it's going to give you that broad protection against UVA and UVB rays.
Wow, okay. So sunscreen it all up. Just lather it head to toe, really.
Head to toe. So all sun-exposed areas.
So especially when you're out in the sun, of course, like when you're out at the beach or you're at the pool this summer, it's also really important as well. A lot of times also wear that hat and keep protected, right?
And UV protective clothing. So especially men who are potentially at higher risk for melanoma don't necessarily have to put on all these creams. You can get UV protective clothing that will protect your arms and your chest. Hats, like you mentioned, are all good ideas to help protect yourself against the sun.
I love that. Well, Dr. Rivera, thank you so much for taking the
pleasure.
time bright and early this morning. Definitely something that we are going to continue. Listen, what did I learn today? I have to sunscreen it up on my face every single day. You heard it here. Again, thank you all so much.